Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next part of our anatomy workshop where we'll be working on the head. The goal today is to break down the head into basic proportions, and then I'll be showing you how I do my own proportions for anime style. On my canvas, I like to leave off in the subview characters that I've done before so I could use them as a reference point for proportions. On this canvas, I'm going to go to View and Grid and turn on a grid. And then I'm also going to go to Snap and then Snap to Grid. This will ensure that my lines line up with the grid lines. In a new folder, I'm going to add a layer, and then I'm going to make a few more layers within this, but let's start with a square, and it's going to go across 5 and down 5. And now on the next layer, I'm going to draw a circle inside of that square. It's going to take up the entire inside of the square. When you select both layers, you can go and align them. And now on another layer, I'm going to draw a square inside of that circle. Next, on another layer, I'm going to be using some colored lines to split it down the center and then horizontally down the center. And that's what we're going to have for folder 1. I'm going to make a duplicate folder of this and turn off the first one. I'll be merging these layers together. I'm going to turn down the opacity just a bit and then create another layer on top of it. What I'm going to do with this layer is I'm going to make some additional lines. One for here and one for the side, and then one across again. Now I'm going to turn off Snap to Grid. And I'm just going to write down something that shows the ratio. This will represent 1, and then split, it'll represent half of it. Now, on the lower half, I'm going to split it off about down the middle. We could adjust it later too. There we go. This will be 1/4, and this will be 1/4. The top of the scale is going to be the forehead, and the bottom we're going to put most of the facial features on. After creating another duplicate folder and turning off the other folder beneath it, I'm going to start erasing the sides of the square up into the inner square. I'll do this on both sides. I'm going to keep the rounded part on the top and bottom, but I'm going to erase this line here. I'm going to fix the area accidentally. There we go. Now, at approximately halfway on this quarter line, I'm going to make a new line across. This is going to be the eye area. I'm going to also divide it into thirds, leaving some space off on the side. I'll do about a square and a half on the side. The goal here for the eye area is there should be about space for 3 eyes. Normally, what I like to do is about an eye distance in the center of the eye. Think about it as the imaginary third eye. I'll add some markers for that. Now, what I would like to do is on a layer above this one, I'm going to make some almond shapes for the eyes. I'm going to start with top for eyelid and then the bottom eyelid. And while the eyes do meet on the center normally, I'm going to leave a little bit of space. It'll look like this. And now your eyelids cover some of your eye. So we don't have to draw the circle inside of this, but rather a cut up version. So let's just do a U shape in the center of this shape. And there we have a spot for the eyes. And now, typically the nose is like in the center of the eyes, but lowered. So I'm just going to do a triangle right here on this line. For this next part, I'm going to turn on a symmetry ruler down the center of this face that we're creating. Now I'm going to do some almond shapes for the eyes. In this section right here, this box, I will be doing half almonds. So let's do an upper eyelid. And I know that the eyes connect. Let's just remember that it will connect about across. And then let's do a lower eyelid. Now, your eyelids are not going to show the entire eyeball. The eyeball sits inside and is covered partially by the eyelids. So let's do an eyeball that will be partially covered. So let's just do a U shape in the center. There we go. Now, at about this halfway mark, the nose will sit. And then you'll see on your own face that your upper lip is a bit close to your nose. For this, I'm just going to add some lines right here, but we could always adjust it later. It'll be about that halfway mark on the 1/4 mark. Let's go back to the eye and make an eyebrow. At the edges of the eye, it's typically where your eyebrows will start to end. I'm going to drag these lines a bit up just so I can demonstrate. And now let's make an arch, just similar to the half almond. There we go. I think for this example, I'm going to lower it a bit. And now it's coming along. Let's add some ears to this face. As you'll notice on your own skull, typically the tip of your ear is about in line with the eyelid. So on our model, at about the top of this halfway mark right here, towards where that eyelid starts to close, let's do a curve and bring that curve not quite all the way through that quarter line, but somewhat close to the edge of it. Those are going to be the ear shape. Let's start curving off the jawline. From this top of the ear point and to this point right here, let's start making a slightly slanted line. I'm going to connect the ear a little bit more into this, and I'll add a little indication right here. And now we're going to bring that line down to make a chin at about this point. So let's make a slightly rounded curve right here and meet for the chin.